them. Rockies at the bottom of the West, Dodgers at the top. Dodger Stadium alive last night. JP Morosi, our hope for tonight's showcase game is that there will be more of the same. Good morning to you. I was watching Juan Soto, and we kind of talked about it earlier in the show in the box last night, and his body movements, he looked more comfortable than he has all season. What have you noticed?
Lauren, good morning. The last several days have been a much better version of Juan Soto, and perhaps he is now finally turning that corner that Mets fans have been wanting him to turn all season long. The home run, certainly a great swing against a future Hall of Famer on a big stage like that. Soto versus Kershaw. That, Lauren, is a gorgeous swing, and it was a huge reason why the Mets were in position to win that game up until the last couple innings. He also made in the field, Lauren, something we don't talk about as often for Juan Soto, an excellent catch, basically giving up the body, almost falling into the stands, if you will, to make that catch down the line. So clearly feeling a more athletic version of himself. And yet, as has so often been the case, there was a bit of a bittersweet overall look because of how the night ended. That was a fairly hittable slider in the zone for him late on there against Tanner Scott, who had a big bounce back outing for the Dodgers. So again, big picture look, much more good than bad last night for Juan Soto. He has turned a corner. Is he all the way back yet? The last swing suggests perhaps not, but he's getting a lot closer. And so I think for Juan Soto, who's been at the center of so much conversation and so much criticism, he's clearly coming out of this. And I think Mets fans should be thrilled about the overall look last night, even though the end result wasn't the one they wanted.
And they get to watch another one tonight on MLB Network, and on the mound, Griffin Canning. It's a high-profile game, and he certainly deserves it. It has not been, you and I were talking in the commercial break, it has not been a straight line to this point. How did he get here?
Both traded and non-tendered, Lauren, last off-season. So it was an unclear time where his next step was going to be in his career, and the Mets made what I think is one of their smartest moves of all last off-season to bring Griffin Canning. And here he was last year with the Angels. And the fastball for him a year ago was much more hittable. There you see it, comfortable swings against the four-seamer. He, of course, grew up as an Angel fan, went to UCLA, so he's from Orange County, but going all the way across the country, Lauren, was a great move for him. You look at his numbers right there, a 3.23 ERA. The repertoire is pretty similar. He throws a bit more sliders this year, but the fastball has been excellent. The batting average against the fastball is down around 200 this season for Canning, who is an excellent athlete as well, fields his position very well. He actually was a Gold Glover once with the Angels, and he's a proud Bruin. Of course, the Bruins are now on to the Super Regional in the NCAA tournament. He's very close to their head coach, John Savage, who's continued to work with them on the pitching end of things. So between John Savage at UCLA, Jeremy Hefner and his pitching group with the Mets, a lot of great coaching and some very, very strong adjustments being made by Griffin Canning to set up now the other ballpark in SoCal.
Yeah.
Pitch tonight in our showcase.
He has got his hands full with Shohei and Mookie and Freddie and Max Muncy. Freddie the hero last night, but after the game, he said, I wasn't here if Max Muncy doesn't tie up the game. We were talking about kind of the power and the patience. This is the Max Muncy we know and love. How do you kind of put it together, JP?
Well, Lauren, the easy point to go back to, and there was a really, really well-written story about this by Sonia Chen at MLB.com about the overall arc of Muncy's season. He started wearing glasses. He has astigmatism in one of his eyes, and he began wearing glasses right around the 1st of May. And his numbers since then have been very Max Muncy-like, very all-star-like, you could call it. He's basically been one of the Dodgers' top hitters, which is saying a lot. That's since he started wearing glasses. And I think Sonia's story also told this very important point, which is, yes, the glasses are a huge part of it, but also the work that he's put in, the mental resiliency that he has shown to work his way back into being himself. And Dave Roberts was quoted in the story about just how much Max has done to be able to fight through the tough month of April, offensively and, yes, defensively, too. There was an error that he made yesterday as well with Kershaw on the mound. But when you homer twice, Lauren, that becomes the storyline. The defense is maybe mentioned in paragraph 10 or 12, but when you homer twice and you have a huge moment like that sets the stage for a walk-off against the Mets in a highly contested series that has a lot of different elements in it, postseason tiebreakers, season series, it's all on stage tonight for us in our MLB Network showcase.
What are you going to do until you go to the ballpark? It's LA, you got to have some
Great
breakfast.
question.
Go to the griddle, chocolate chip pancakes.
So I'm thinking about this. I'm actually staying in West LA, Lauren. I might the low key story about LA, and you probably know this. It's a very healthy lifestyle, but there's some good, not awesome food for you that exists here too. That I always try to maybe avail myself of at least once during the trip.
Do it. Enjoy. Live your life. JP Muncy, appreciate it. Tonight, it is your MLB Network Showcase game. Dodgers and Mets on MLB Network. Tony Gonsolin on the mound, and Will Smith will be behind the plate. Alex Avila. And if you ask Dave Roberts about value on his team, he'll talk Freddie, he'll talk Mookie, he'll talk Shohei. But he lights up when you say the name of the guy behind you on the screen. We love the home runs, but behind the plate, what makes him go? What have you noticed lately this year?
Well, Lauren, Robert, look. So a couple days ago, me and D-Row did a thing on Cal Raleigh, right, as far as being the best catcher in baseball with the start that he's had, right? I got crushed on social media by Dodgers fans.
No.
What about our guys?
Did you?
Very thoughtful.
Wow.
Very thoughtful, suggestions on, their guy being the best
Steeped in knowledge and nuance,
steeped in
I'm
knowledge.
sure.
Very thoughtful people on X, but it made me think, obviously, Will Smith is one of the best catchers in the game. He's been one of the best catchers in the game. I had him, I think, maybe third under Cal Raleigh in top 10 catchers, but just a little bit of history lesson, too, on Will Smith. Through age 30 season, OPS plus for a catcher since 1947. Look at this list. He's top 10. Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, Hall of Famer, will be a Hall of Famer, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame. Mike Piazza, Hall of Fame. Don't sleep on Gene, the Steamboat Tennis over there, too, in those mid-'70s Oakland A's teams as well during that dynasty. But, I mean, Will Smith is on that track. So I wanted to get into a little bit of what has, been an incredible offensive season for Will Smith. His best offensive season so far to date, because he's really been huge for this Dodgers lineup, really lengthening this team. Here is MLB ranks as far as what he's been able to do compared to everyone else. Look at that average, 323. He's getting on base at a 433 clip, which is nuts for a catcher. He's in there every single day and, hitting behind, some of the best players in the game. So I was like, okay, what is he doing anything a little bit different? Because June really took off over the course of the month after March and April. But we noticed he's a little bit more open, a little bit more on his toes, making the adjustment as he opened up a little bit more. And on the flip side, too, if we can get to that side angle as well, this is what I wanted to point out here. Early on in the season, a little bit wider as opposed to now. He's a little more stacked, a little more upright, plus a little bit more open. And if we can run the tape, I'll show you what I'm talking about. He's always had that little stutter step, but on that leg kick, pause it. Go back a little bit. Go back a little bit more. A little bit more. Right there. I think what has allowed him to do, being a little more stacked, a little more tall, and a little bit more open, he's a little more athletic with the leg kick, allowing him to be more on time. He's starting a little bit earlier. Here, it almost seemed like he was a little stuck. And it wasn't like he was hitting bad, but here it's kind of taken to another level. We can run this through. It just looks a little more balanced, a little more free and easy. Because he really took off. And these are just some of the numbers from the stance where you can actually see the difference from March and April compared to May, June, where he is slightly more open on that toe, and a little bit more narrow in his stance, which I think gives him a little more athleticism. But the real key for Will Smith for this Dodgers team is what he's been able to do with guys on base in scoring position, because you got Ohtani, you got Freddie, you got Mookie hitting in front of him. So he's going to have opportunities. So you need someone that's going to, relish in those scoring chances and really put together good at-bats. The thing is, when you're hitting in the middle of the lineup, you're not always going to get, cookie-cutter fastballs. You got to be able to hit good pitchers, throwing good pitches. So this is what he's been doing with runners in scoring position, which is absolutely crazy. Hitting at a 440 clip Only second to Aaron Judge with runners in scoring position. But this is why. Against non-fastballs, you're not going to see a lot of fastballs when you're hitting in the middle of the order, with guys on base. He's hitting 373. He has an understanding of what they're trying to do to get him out. And that's what's making him so tough on opposing pitchers. When there's guys on base, he just knows how to drive in runs, which that's a big deal. So you got to have guys that really understand how to drive in runs. The other thing, too, is it's his throwing. He's got, he's had a knack over the last couple of years of being extremely accurate. He doesn't have the strongest arm, but he's got an extremely accurate arm, very quick, gets Corbin Carroll there. The key is here. Let's pause that real quick. Let's go back. I want to point out the other thing, too. For a catcher, look, the biggest thing for you, go back a little bit more, like right before he catches the ball, One more tick. A little forward. Keep going. Right there. So the biggest thing for a lot of catchers to understand is if you want to throw guys out, you got to get moving on your body. You can be coming out of your crouch, whether you're on a knee or you're catching in a traditional crouch, you got to be moving, getting out of your position before that ball hits your glove in order to put your body in a position to be able to make a strong throw. And Smith, he catches on a knee a lot, so he's already coming out of his crouch. We can go ahead and run it to be able to get his body in rhythm and momentum moving forward to be able to make a strong, accurate throw. And that's the biggest thing, accuracy, giving your fielder a chance. This was insane over the weekend against the Yankees. I don't know what Austin Wells is doing. I don't know why he's running. It looks like I'm stealing a bag right there. But on that pitch right there, there's a few guys in the league that have kind of used the, kind of the sidearm, to throw guys out on a pitch like that, which is, very athletic. We've seen Patrick Bailey does it a little bit as well. He's been one of the best guys throwing guys out. But this list, these guys have been throwing guys out for a while now in our league. But Will Smith, to me, especially on the throwing aspect, it doesn't matter so much how strong your arm is or what your pop time is, as long as you're within the time you need to get there. But accuracy is the biggest thing. You give me a catcher, Roflo, Lauren, that has the strongest arm but no accuracy, I'm going to show you a catcher that doesn't throw anybody out.
That's fair. And by the way, for those Dodger fans that came after you, I hope none of them were the ones doing the wave on March 31st that we saw in that clip there. Because that nullifies your opinion, as far as I'm concerned.
It's all the guys that blow up the beach balls and hit them around.
Send your social media hate to Robert. He responds to every...
Yeah, just let me know. I'll be happy to respond on your behalf.
You're welcome.
Just like the guy that sent something to Lauren a few moments ago. You know who you are. What are you? She needs to take off her shoes or what? Make you happy?
Welcome back to MLB Central. We are presented by the Home Depot. Ballpark Cam up and running out west. Dodger Stadium, Game 3 of a 4-game set, says Jim Bloom, because it rained yesterday. They had the tarp on the field for 4 hours.
I didn't even know they had a tarp.
I was thinking the same darn thing. Dodgers and Mets. It is our MLB Network showcase game. We cannot wait. First pitch, 10:10 Eastern from Los Angeles, California. And gentlemen, in anticipation of our showcase game, let's play a game. Whose favorite game is this?